ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
It is Friday, April 25th. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We've got one update to tell you about right away. Baseball action tonight at the Jack. Well, that's not happening due to the weather. Game that was set to start at 6 o'clock has been postponed. Doubleheader now scheduled for tomorrow starting at 1 p.m. Game 2 will be 45 minutes after the conclusion of the first game. And so that means our scheduled broadcast on Saturday has changed. We'll go on the air at 12:50 tomorrow for Marshall Baseball right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So if you're heading out to the ballpark now, you haven't heard the news, weather has postponed today's game that was set for 6 o'clock. All right, now that we've got that out of the way and you know the deal, we'll get the text line open, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, and I'll give you that number one more time, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So yesterday, I'm sure like many of you, I don't know how many of you stayed the entire time. It actually went pretty fast. And I'm talking about the NFL draft. Now, there was a lot on last night. You had NBA, you had NHL, playoff action, you had baseball, of course. So there's a lot going on. And if you're anything like me, you've got the apps going on your phone. And so you get notifications now and then. So I'm a Bengals fan. I'll get the Bengals notifications. You can follow along right there. Do a few other things. Usually I'll have something on in the background, mostly if I'm listening to a game or something, I'll have that on the background. But, I watched the entire draft last night from start to finish, and I guess I did it wrong because I watched ESPN. I probably should have watched ABC. Of course, ESPN's got Mel Kiper, and I'm sitting there like a lot of you are, hoping that, okay, Mike Green's going to get called tonight. His name's going to get called eventually. They're taking a few defensive players, so maybe that's a good sign that there's going to be a run on these guys, and Mike Green's going to get picked up. And the Bengals were right there at 17, and I had joked on the show, and I guess I'm going to have to hold true to my word now. We'll figure a way out of this eventually, but I got to hold true to my word now. The Cincinnati Bengals were sitting at 17, and Mike Green was right there, and I'm thinking, all right, hey, maybe this is going to work out. That would be great. I'd love to have Mike Green be a Bengal. It'd be my favorite Bengal player. And the Bengals take pass rusher Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. And I'm shaking my head. What are we doing here? I mean, this guy only had 4.5 sacks in 3 seasons at Texas A&M. We taking this guy, and of course, as a Bengals fan, and I don't cover the Bengals, so this is the only time I approve of saying we. What are we doing here? This is a interesting pick here. The Bengals said after the pick was made that they anticipate, this was actually Zach Taylor, said that we anticipate getting a lot of production out of him. Now, he gives you depth. I'll give you that. And he's going to be a long-term starter. Give you that. And if you can keep Trey Hendrickson around, all the better. So the Bengals will have a good rotation. I just think that the Bengals made the wrong pick. And, of course, I'm obviously completely biased in this regard because I thought Mike Green was first-round material, probably still is. But there's probably a lot of questions, concerns about him. Of course, when you're the NFL and you're in the combine, or if you're going through all the interviews, they're grading your performances. They're also factoring in any red flags that you may have, fair or unfair. You're looking at the first round. You're spending a lot of money on first-round picks. And so you want to make sure that you get a return for your investment, that you don't have anything that's going to come back and haunt you. As you get later in the rounds, you're going to get a lot of value out of guys. And those players that will be able to prove themselves will get their money on the back end. The second deal, that's going to be the bigger deal. So a lot of players in the draft tonight will get that first initial deal. That's going to be better than a lot of us. They're going to make life-changing money. I would like to have – I'll take second-round money. I'll take third-round money right now. I would take life-changing money to help with my life, and I'm sure you would as well. So the good news is a lot of players are going to realize their dream, be drafted in the NFL, and there's going to have, they're going to have an opportunity to show themselves to be worth an investment, and that second deal is going to be better. But it was disappointing because I was really hopeful that Mike Green would get picked in the first round. There were a lot of people that didn't get picked in the first round, and that was something that we heard echoed all night long from Mel Kiper, Shadur Sanders being the big target of his conversations with, America. We'll keep an eye on it. It's coming up again tonight. You can listen to it over on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. We'll get you updated throughout the night, and you can also stream. All you have to do is head over to our website, Cat Sports 93.3. You can get the app. You can stream it right there. You can also enable the Amazon Alexa skill, and you can listen to it right there on your device. So we've got you covered. But the Bengals picked Shamar Stewart. Wasn't where I was hoping that the Bengals would go. I saw Mike Green right there. So, yeah, now what? We've got a potential couple of Marshall players that maybe could go tonight. Day 2, Mike Green, J.J. Roberts. Wouldn't it be great if both of those could go tonight? I would hope that at least Mike Green, and I've heard this, and it's anecdotal, like, hey, I'm sure Mike Green's going to go early tonight. Well, we'll see. That was sort of the office conversations today with a few people. Yeah, he'll go tonight. And, of course, we gave Bill Cornwell, our news director of the business today, because he assured everyone over on his side of the office, oh, yeah, Mike Green's going first round. And I kind of feel like Bill maybe jinxed it a little bit for us. We'll hope that Mike Green goes tonight. You know what? There's nothing wrong with being a second rounder or third rounder. Nothing wrong whatsoever. If you can get a good fit, you get a team that's going to bring you in, you get a good fit, and that's going to pay off in the end. That's going to definitely pay dividends for you. So disappointing that he wasn't a first-round pick, but he looked good. Saw some video from his house. I don't know what they were doing on ABC. I was watching ESPN and kept it locked there, but they went to his house a couple of times. They mentioned him a few times as well. And so he's one that graded well. He's high on a few boards. Of course, you know how GMs are. Doesn't matter what we think. Doesn't matter what the experts tell you. Their boards are completely different. Each team has scouts and staff. And if you have 32 teams, you got 32 different boards based on need and how you evaluate that player. So we'll keep an eye on that tonight. And, of course, we got baseball action coming up as well. It's going to be right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. 9:45 tonight. The Bucks are taking on the Dodgers. Fell to the Angels last night 4-3. Try to keep an eye on that a little bit. I've found it hard to get into baseball right now with so much going on. I've fallen behind on my NBA and my NHL. Of course, the draft took all of my attention yesterday. Hoping that the Bengals would do the right thing for me and pick up Mike Green. And, of course, I like what the texter just said about my promise. Quote, get out of it, you said, so you admit you lied. No, I didn't lie at all. I'm not a fan today. Absolutely not. I am not. I have sent in all my Bengals swag right now. I even sent a message to a friend of mine who works in Cincinnati who's connected with the radio network. I'm like, hey, you tell management they messed up. They lost me here. No, I'm. Hey, look, if the Bengals draft J.J. Roberts or Mike Green and later round, I'll find some room in my heart to forgive them here. Right now, I'm in my heel turn. I'm absolutely in my heel turn for the Bengals. I mean, come on. You think I'm really going to root for the Browns or the Steelers? I'll just not watch. I'll find something else on Sunday. What's NBC usually carry on Sunday? Don't they have curling or yacht sailing, yacht racing maybe? Don't they have something? I can watch that on Sundays. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That's our number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. That's fine. Call me out. Call me out on that. You won't be seeing me wearing my Bengals gear anytime soon. Go ahead. Call me out on that now. I'll figure a way. We'll make this right. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hi, this is Dave Wilson, host of Metro News Talkline, and you're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Thank you, Dave. We appreciate you. And don't forget, you can hear Dave Monday morning, 10:06 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. So we're trying to keep an eye on the transfer portal every day, football, basketball. Of course, the portal's closing up, but that doesn't mean anything. There'll still be some movement, players that'll be finding new homes. And we just learned a few minutes ago, Judah Price, the 2022 State Player of the Year from Independence. He was at West Virginia, but he put himself in the transfer portal. He's got 3 years of eligibility left, and he's not as flashy as Coach Huff when it comes to retweeting, reposting on social media. Doesn't use that stupid Steph Curry gif, but Judah Price, he is committed to the Thundering Herd according to socials, and Coach Gibson retweeted it, so we know it's good. So Marshall with another pickup in football in Judah Price, so another in-state product coming home to the Herd. Basketball was busy yesterday. After we went off the air, there was another addition to the Herd. Yesterday we told you about Caleb Hollenbeck. Well, got to have a running mate. 6'8" forward Andrew Fuqua, Gillette College in Wyoming, Gillette Junior College in Wyoming, signing with the Herd or committing to the Herd. And so the good news there is the Herd's starting to build up its roster. And even better news, Jalen Spear removing his name from the transfer portal, and he's going to be back with the Herd this season. So everything's starting to fall back into place for Coach Jackson and the Thundering Herd. I don't think there was any panic on basketball side. A little bit more in football, always more panic with football. But so far, I don't think we've had really any panic. You look at any departures and you go, okay, I hate that. But it's been minimal, and it looks like you're making some moves in the transfer portal. This is more basketball action than we've seen in a few years, and that's not to take anything away from the job that Dan D'Antoni did, but that just wasn't his style. The transfer portal is becoming more of a tool for Marshall basketball. So early evaluation looks good on paper for the Thundering Herd, and that's good to see. Absolutely glad to see Marshall becoming more adept in basketball with the transfer portal. Now, we haven't heard really much out of women's basketball just yet, and I'm hoping we'll hear something soon. But on the men's side, you're getting a 6'4" guard and a 6'8" forward. And then Jalen Spear deciding that he will come back. So good job so far from Cornelius Jackson. 304-396-TALK is our text line, 304-396-8255. That is our number to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. How would you evaluate so far the job that Coach Jackson's been doing? Yeah, he's got a year under his belt now. He's managed the season. Now he's full recruit mode. How would you evaluate him? Way too early evaluation of Coach Jackson and the job that he has done with the Thundering Herd. Good, wait or see. Good or wait or see. What would you say to that? I'm going to lean towards good. One player, you're losing. Dezane Mingo, I'm leaving. Okay. Another player, I'm leaving. Jalen Spear. All of a sudden, coming back. And then you start announcing a few players. You're starting to load up again, starting to make moves. You're getting players that look like they're solid. They can add value to what you got. Maybe diamonds in the rough. You're not going to get that heavy hitter, but if you can get a good group of players and you can develop them, you can have a strong run in the Sun Belt. It's different in basketball than it is football. In football, you can win your conference championship, and that doesn't mean you're going to get an invite to how this playoff structure is now, with the hope that, hey, the best group of 5 champion is going to get into this thing. Well, to be the best group of 5 champion, you got to win some of those out-of-conference games as well. So you could take that approach that, you know what, I'm going to be a little careful, and I'm not going to play my best players and give my team the best chance to win. And when I call these meaningful games and meaningless games, if you're looking at it, conference being meaningful, Ohio State, Virginia Tech maybe not meaning as much, if you know where I'm going with that, Coach Huff. Or you can try to put together the best team you can and go give it your all, try to win the game, finish strong, and you might have a shot in football. With basketball, though, you know the path. It's clear. You want to play for a national championship in basketball, you win your conference tournament. And so you can go out. You can play tougher opponents in basketball, and it won't hurt you. You can play tougher games. You can play schools that are going to challenge you. And as long as you get something out of that, and then when you go into conference, you have a real good shot. And along the way, you might beat some of those teams. You play the bigger teams, you play the better teams. And it's going to give you a much better chance once you get into tournament play. You've seen it before. You finish strong in conference. It's completely different now. Basketball's got a better edge here because you can play those teams. You don't have to worry. Nobody's going to go, oh, hey, you lost to Duke. Oh, the season's over. No, if you knock Duke off, you look, hey, look, we knocked Duke off. And then you go into conference play, and you try to run the table there, or at least you try to win the conference. And then you can say, hey, oh, we knocked Duke off. Not, well, that game doesn't mean anything. I'm still a little annoyed by that. For that interview that Coach Huff gave, I mean, he can coach any way he wants to, but I'm a little annoyed by that still. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're keeping an eye also on Marshall tennis. Right now, 3-2 lead over Texas State. This is the Sun Belt Conference Championship tournament going on. Every other match is completed. The Herd right now, the only game along with Texas State outstanding, and it's 3-2. We'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully Marshall can pull ahead and win that one. 304-396-TALK is our text line, 304-396-8255. More coming up on today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Appreciate everyone being with us here on this Friday edition. You know we like to have fun, and we're going to do so now. Our text line's open, brought to you by Clark's Pump and Shop at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got some really good texts that are hit the line, so let's break them down best we can. First up, texter says, Paul, how can a regular season scheduled football game early in the season really not mean anything? We're referring to Coach Huff's comments. The texter continues to say, that was mind-boggling. Marshall is on their way to good things. I'm going to stop there because there's more on this text, and I'm going to talk about just how mind-boggling that really was to me when I heard that. It's as if we're rewriting the narrative. It's okay if you're not the smartest guy in the room. That's fine. You sit back and you learn. And then you apply what you learn, and then you find out what worked, and then you repeat, rinse and repeat. You're not the smartest guy in the room. It's okay. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. Most of us are not the smartest guy or lady in the room. I apologize. We don't want to leave anyone out. But you get what I'm saying. If you made a mistake, you made a mistake. You made a miscalculation, you made a miscalculation. It's fine. You can say you made that mistake, and you can learn from it, and you can move on. It's fine. Instead, we've got this revisionist history here, this cult of personality that has surrounded Coach Huff. I mean, if you note the difference between how Coach Gibson operates and how Coach Huff operates, Media Day is coming up for the Sun Belt, and Southern Miss following that Coach Huff playbook. There's a picture of Coach Huff. Media Day. Okay, posting that on our Instagrams, are we? Now that was the same thing with Marshall. Always it was like we're building up the cult of Coach Huff. And with Coach Gibson, completely different. Now I like Coach Huff, so it might not sound like it right now, but I actually like Coach Huff. But it's completely different styles, and I think I prefer, now that I've got a bit of Coach Gibson's style. I mean, he's down to earth. Let's go. Let's coach football. Let's play football. You're just not seeing anything like that. And so, how dare we question the decision-making of the coach? Look, you're in that position, it's part of the job. You're going to be questioned. You're going to be questioned by fans. You're going to be questioned by media members, myself included. You're going to be questioned by everybody. Now, I had a coach tell me one time years ago, I think I've said this before, that the thing that frustrates him was that everybody thinks that they can do his job better. They're always telling him how to do his job better, and that's fair. But there were some questionable things that happened early on that season with player personnel, and to come out and kind of have this revisionist history here, you play to win the game. You play to win the game. That's it. That's what fans want. Come out and play to win the game. Also, Texter said, Coach Jackson has done great with the portal and what he can control. Coach Gibson back home at Marshall's making good moves, and the Beals and the new Diamond is awesome. Marshall's looking good, Paul. I appreciate the text. Diamond looks good. Looking forward to getting some baseball underway tomorrow. Softball's looking good. The dot always looks good. Henderson Center, hopefully we can spiffy that up a little bit more. Jones C. Edwards Stadium, we can spiffy that up a little bit more. Some positive things we can talk about for Marshall right now. Back to the text line. Texter says, Paul, if the Bengals aren't on, I enjoy watching the Steelers and cheering for the other team. I'm also a little concerned about our kicking situation at Marshall. We lost our starting kicker to North Carolina. Whatever happened to Johnny I? I know I messed up the spelling. It's okay. It's fine. I also should proof these things before I read it. Texter also says, last I heard he had signed with Marshall, but I haven't heard anything else about him. Did he not end up at Marshall or go in the portal? He was a great kicker at Huntington High. Have a great evening. And I'm having a hard time keeping an eye on this portal as well. I have to go out there every single day and start just finding ways to see what snuck up on us here. I'm not that concerned about the Marshall kicking situation right now. That's the one thing I can honestly say. I'm not too concerned about kicking, only because of the fact that you lost probably your best returner, or one of them anyway. And I liked Veerhoff. It was good to talk to him a few weeks ago. But I'm not too concerned right now, to be honest with you. Only because I have a feeling that with what we've seen to this point, there are player needs that are being addressed. And it could be that some guys got told, look, we're going to move on from you. And so we're going to give you this opportunity to go out there in the portal, go out early, find a new home. If you stay here, you're not going to get really much of an opportunity to play. I'm just trying to kind of figure out what that conversation might look like, what that conversation might sound like. But if you look at the transfer portal, you lost Justin Holmes, you lost Christian Fitzpatrick, Colin Parachek, you lost Will Holt, you lost Reese Veerhoff, you lost Marcel Williams. We can go on and on and on and on as far as some of the guys you lost. Some of them you just look at and you go, oh yeah, you were still there. You were on the yeah. And then you look at some of the players that are coming in. You got Zay Bradshaw coming in. You got Zah Jackson coming in. And I'm pretty confident that the kicking game's going to get addressed. I know, long answer to what you were probably asking, but I'm confident that the kicking game is going to get addressed. I'm actually confident that all of these deficiencies we're seeing, I think we're going to be okay on some of this. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. And just as a note on Johnny I, he committed on January 6th last year. Committed January 6th last year. And if you check his social media accounts, the last time he was active was April 17th that I can see, and he was reposting that Zah Jackson had transferred to the Herd, and he hasn't been that active on social media, but he still has his commitment pinned on his feed. So that makes me feel like all's good there, no worries whatsoever. We'll get more of your texts coming up, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. And to your other point, I'm with you. If the Bengals aren't on, I enjoy watching the Steelers and cheering for the other team. Absolutely. Unless it's the Browns or the Ravens, then I just cheer for a tie. That's the thing I still hope for. Just a tie. A 0-0 tie between the Browns Ravens, Browns, Steelers, Steelers, Ravens. I just hope for a 0-0 tie there. Have the game end. You can't resolve it in overtime. If all those teams could just tie every single week and not win, I'd be okay with that too. The loss is better, but if it's both of them, I'll take a tie because you can't have a double loss, so we'll just take a tie. Or one loses, and then they can rotate those losses. Like if the Steelers played the Browns, they can rotate losses. The Steelers and the Browns play the Ravens, they can rotate losses as well there. I'm completely fine with all of that. This is the one division. This is fun for me because I actually genuinely don't like the Cleveland Browns. I don't like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't like the Baltimore Ravens. Absolutely can't stand any of those teams. I still have issues with the Tennessee Titans because all the Tennessee Titans are to me are the Houston Oilers. So I have problems with them. And then don't even get me started about the Houston Texans because they're Houston still as well. And then you get the San Francisco 49ers. Can't stand them. Absolutely can't stand them. I'm trying to think, is there a team I do like outside of the Bengals? I don't think I do. I don't think I have an NFL team that I like outside of the Cincinnati Bengals. Not a single one of them. There are just some I dislike more. More coming up on this Friday edition of The Drive. 304-396-TALK is our text line. Thanks for being a part of it here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Follow at Paul Swann on X for Marshall sports updates and more.
Welcome back to this Friday edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Getting time for the draft once again. Night 2 coming up. The Cleveland Browns will be on the clock to kick things off. The Browns in the second round have the 33rd pick. That's the first pick of the second round. They had the 4th pick in the second round as well. The Bengals have the 17th pick in the second round. And that's it. Just one pick for the Bengals. Third round, the Browns have the 3rd pick. The Bengals have the 17th pick. Browns also have the 30th pick of the 3rd round. So we're looking at round 2. Is this the round that maybe Mike Green gets selected to? And if so, which team picks him up? Could you see a team like the Browns scoop him up? The Bears have got a couple of picks in the early portion of the second round as well. Does Mike Green drop all the way to 49th? And would the Bengals take a pass on him, pick him up at 49, or does he go sooner? That's probably going to be our big question. And, of course, we're all hoping that J.J. Roberts is going to get grabbed tonight as well. I'd love to see him with the Bengals. And, again, 17th pick, 3rd round, 81st. I would think Green goes first. If anything, Green maybe doesn't make it to 17. But does J.J. Roberts make it to – I think he's going to make it to 49, 17 in the second round. I think he would make it. He'd be on the board. Would he be on the board at 81? That'd be 17 again for the Bengals. The Bengals even looking at that direction as well. So a lot of night 2 drama coming up. Best available overall. Number 2 player, best available overall, according to ESPN, Mike Green. So if you're going best available, round 2, that's the Houston Texans. Do the Houston Texans pick him up? And we're talking overall. Now, yeah, positions matter. But Mike Green is regarded as the second best remaining player on the board, or best available. Where does he go? 304-396-TALK. 304-396-8255 is our text line to be a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So, Will Johnson, by the way, is the best available right now. Shedeur Sanders, according to ESPN metrics, or at least on the best available list, is right now the 8th best player available. And how did his stock drop tremendously? There were just a lot of teams that didn't need a quarterback. And then you have the Steelers passing by. And could it be another situation where they didn't want to go quarterback in round 1 and have another Kenny Pickett type situation? Or you pick up a value pick in round, probably for them it'd be round 3, unless they trade, because they don't have a pick in the second round. The next time that the Pittsburgh Steelers would pick will be the 83rd pick. That's 19th in the third round. And so, if you're looking at where he might go, who needs a quarterback? Oh, by the way, there's a poll right now on ESPN on the DraftCast. Who will be the next pick? Round 2, pick 1. So let's see. I'm going to pick Mike Green. Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll pick Mike Green. Watch him go to the Browns, and this be me be miserable on the whole weekend because Mike Green's a Brown. Happy for him, miserable because he's a Brown. Hopefully, we will not have to wait long to see Mr. Green get drafted. Until then, draft coverage tonight. Catch it on our sister station, Cat Sports 93.3 and 1340. We got baseball action coming up tonight. The Pirates continue to be on the West Coast, and so with the Pirates being on the West Coast, we'll go on the air 9:45, falling to the Angels yesterday 4-3. And so in Southern California, opening up a series with the Dodgers. And we'll have that game right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Also, we'll have Marshall Baseball tomorrow. Our time has changed. We're going to have the first game. It's a doubleheader now for those of you that are tuning in late. The Marshall game postponed today on the baseball mound. It's going to be part of a doubleheader tomorrow as weather not permitting. And so South Alabama, the opponent for Marshall tomorrow, it's going to be a 1 o'clock first pitch. We'll go on the air at 12:50 with our Saturday showcase. And then we will get into later on that evening, we will have Pirates baseball as well. Softball is about ready to go. Herd is taking on Georgia Southern. And so that's about ready to start at 6 o'clock in Statesboro. So we're keeping an eye on Marshall tennis as well. And we don't have a final from there just yet, but hopefully we'll get one here in the next minute or so before we go off the air. The Thundering Herd at last check was leading in that one against Texas State, so we'll try to get the final for you before we head off the air. And, of course, if we can't get you the final, don't forget to head on over to herdzone.com for the result. Let's see. Right now, according to everything, it's still 3-2 Texas State. Looks like we got 2 matches still going right now. It looks like I'm trying to see which one looks like it's going to end first, but it looks like we've got 2 matches going, and this one's going to come down to the wire. It looks like, so we'll keep an eye on that. If you want to go follow along, you can head over to herdzone.com and watch it there. Keep an eye on it. Also, this is streaming on ESPN Plus. So hopefully John Mercer and his team can get the win and move on to the next round. We'll try to get John on here sometime next week, depending on the outcome of this weekend's action. Hopefully we're talking about a Sun Belt Championship for him. And if you missed his interview with me yesterday, you can go back and listen to it. That's available on our podcast. And that's a great moment to tell you that you can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You can also go to our website and listen to it. And while you're there, you can download the app. It's free. We've got the links to your store, so you can get it for your Android or for your iPhone. And you can download it. You can listen to the station. You can also download the podcast right there in the app. So you can just open up the app, and you've got everything you need. And you can take that app with you. If you're going to the baseball game tomorrow, you can listen to our Saturday showcase. Or if you can't go to the game tomorrow, you can listen to our Saturday showcase. We've got it for you starting at 12:50 right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So it looks like we're not going to get that tennis result. I was hoping that we'd have that by the end of the show here. And looking at some of the numbers, it looks pretty tight right now. So all we're out. Sophia is right now. It looks like it is. That one's close. That one's not done. And then Emily Nyers is in her match right now, and that one looks like it is not done. So cliffhanger there. Head over to herdzone.com if you want to keep up with that. For everyone else, thanks for being a part of today's show here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I will be back with you on Monday. Hopefully we'll have a better picture of what this NFL draft means for Marshall and, of course, your favorite team, and of course my former favorite team until they bring restitution to me, the Bengals, for not taking Mike Green round 1. If he goes to the Browns, I'm going to be so mad. Happy for him, but so mad. Thanks for being a part of it. We'll talk to you tomorrow on baseball. It'll be 12:50. Christian Palmer will have the call. The Herd taking on a very good team in South Alabama. Until then, have a great night, everyone.
Broadcasting from the Dave & Buster's studios. Eat, drink, play, and watch at Dave & Buster's in the Huntington Mall. ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. WRBC, W231BS Huntington.